4CT, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about AicroStrategy, what it is, how it works. If you could just give me the rundown, kind of like the explain like I'm five version of what AicroStrategy is, and then we can dig into some more of the technical specifics as we get on.
So basically, you can think of it as MicroStrategy on chain, but what does that mean? So let's forget all the terminologies and the bonds and the convertible bonds and all of that. Just let's take it the easy way. So we are raising money with a promise, okay? It's a promise. Instead of asking money from someone as a gift or just hand it out, we say, can you lend us the money with a special promise? The promise is called convertible bonds, okay? If things go well, this promise will turn into something more valuable, all right? So in that terms, what are we going to do with the money that we're lending? We're going to buy Bitcoin, and everybody knows Bitcoin. It's valuable. People like it. So there's nothing wrong with that. And what we're doing with the Bitcoin is we're using smart supercomputers or AI to tell us and decide when is a good time to buy more Bitcoin or adjust the plan that we're using. And at the end, we're going to reward the lenders. If Bitcoin becomes valuable, the people who lend the money get rewarded. And that is by the bond converting to AiSTR at a discount, which means that they get more at the market value. Or else they get back their principal, which is the money they lent out. So it's a win-win scenario, I would say.
So it's very, very, like the name suggests, very similar to MicroStrategy in that regard.
Yeah, just on-chain, on steroids, I would say. That's the difference.
Okay. How does the actual process work? Because I've been on the AicroStrategy website. I've had a bit of a dig through. Full disclosure, I am invested in this project for everyone listening. So I own like a reasonable amount of tokens. Yeah. How does it actually work? So I know that you've got the fund, you're using Morpho and Aerodrome as well. Would love if you could go through some of the details on like the actual looping process, how the agent or agents are actually essentially getting the yield on that BTC or acquiring more Bitcoin.
So we're working with Morpho on a few things. The first main idea is the looping of the Bitcoin. So by that we mean we're gonna get the money, the USDC from the users, and then we're gonna borrow Bitcoin with it. We're gonna buy Bitcoin with it, and then we're gonna borrow more Bitcoin using that. We're gonna loop it, and that will allow us to accumulate much more Bitcoin. And it's a process that's been known for a while in the DeFi sector, looping, but I don't think everybody does it, or it could be a bit scary if you don't know what you're doing. But here comes the AI agents, which will help us decide. So basically, the agents, I won't say much about that because we're gonna release a thread regarding that. But the agents basically can predict what is the next move on the market and what could be happening. So it could give us an estimate for the next, I don't know, few hours or so, saying that the market conditions will be as follows. So then the strategy would be adjusted, and it would change. It would tell us when is a good time to buy, when is not. And going into the Aerodrome thing, Aerodrome is also what we were doing is we're branching out from just accumulating Bitcoin like MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy gets the dollars, they buy Bitcoin, and then they keep it in their treasury. But we want to take advantage of the DeFi sector, and we want to squeeze it, and we want to take as much as Bitcoin as we can, accumulate as much as we can, because that's going to bring value to the lenders. So by using Morpho, we're going to loop the Bitcoin, borrow Bitcoin, lend the USDC, and just loop that all over as much as we can in a favorable way, so it can stay safe. Now, going to Aerodrome, we've got plans with that. I don't know if you've seen our treasury, but we hold VARO. for voting, and we're going to use that for future purposes, I would say. Something exciting coming, but we're also using the funds we have to generate more yield using DeFi, and we're currently LPing a few tokens, earning around 400% to 800% APR. Of course, it changed. We're working with other partners to use those strategies in a auto rebalancing way, so that if it goes out of range, then it rebalances and gets back in, and we're still earning from that yield. So really, we're trying to earn yield from every possible way we can in order to accumulate more Bitcoins.
Okay, nice. So just max yield, max Bitcoin accumulation. That's the strat. With the AiSTR token, I know you guys have talked about making it mintable so that you can actually issue more so that people can buy it, just in the same way that, MicroStrategy issues shares of we'll make more shares so more people can buy it and we can buy more Bitcoin. In your case, Loop, more Bitcoin. If you don't mind me asking, why wasn't it made mintable to begin with?
Sure. So the idea was, I'll just point this out, that the way MicroStrategy or AicroStrategy works is that we don't mint the tokens beforehand. They only get minted when the expiry of the bond is coming, when it's maturing, the maturity date, and if the strike price is above, the current price is above the strike price that it's determined in the bond, then, only then, would more tokens be minted and be given out instead of the principal. Because the way the bonds work is that if the price reaches the strike price, it goes above it, then you get your money converted into AiSTR at a lower rate. So today we did the bonds. You look in at the current rate, and a few months the price appreciates, it goes above that, and you get tokens at a cheaper price. So you're in profit now. Okay, it gives you more value. Otherwise, if it doesn't reach the strike price, no tokens will be minted out, and the principal amount, the USDC, will be given back to the lenders. And this is how it works. Why wasn't it done that way? Because the way Daos.world was programmed and coded a bit differently than this. And when we wanted to do the idea, Daos.world was perfect for us to launch, but not all the technicalities were there that we needed. So we're working on that, and we found an even easier way to make it work. So I think in all aspects that it not being mintable at first was a good thing, and now we're gonna make it work by having some smart contracts that would do that, and we're gonna if the time comes, we're gonna do a swap 1-to-1 to the token, so nothing's gonna change pretty much.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up, because I was just like, but no, that actually makes a lot of sense. I did have a question about the AI agent side of things as well. Like, how much control does the AI agent have over the fund compared to human intervention? So I assume that you're, watching what's happening, or someone else from the team is kind of overseeing the process. But how much functionality or creative freedom is the agent given in this regard?
The agent will have, let's say, limited permissions for specific things. It will be allowed to do very specific strategies and not go beyond that. So whatever it does, it's going to do it according to a specific strategy. So it's let's say it's got a command, and then it's going to follow that, or else do not proceed according to the market conditions. This is going to be the first phase of it. We want to expand that even more. So in terms of having it being more intelligent, so we can go, should I say? Yeah, we can go. We're planning on going cross-chain, and the AI will give us the best favorable markets to use and deploy the funds to, and it will deploy the funds itself to it. So according to specific criteria and strategy, it will follow, and it will act accordingly. But also we have something we're working on with Morpho, which is permissionless vaults. I don't know if you saw, but Morpho has vaults where people deposit an asset, and then the vault would do a certain strategy and give yield back to the users. So our agents are going to be integrated with that, and we're going to get users more exposure to our strategy. A bit different strategy, I would say, because that one is going to be more focused on a specific thing. But yeah, we want users to get more exposure. So the Morpho vaults will be working with the agents, and the agents are going to loop the Bitcoin, let's say, for example, according to their predictions and the market conditions.
Okay. You're talking about AicroStrategy going cross-chain. Can you share anything more on that?
Yeah, what I can share is that there is a lot of opportunities on different chains and arbitrage that should be taken advantage of, to be honest. The yield of Bitcoin, for example, differs very, very greatly from one chain to another. Borrowing the asset they USDC, for example, differs a lot. On Base, it's considerably a bit higher than most chains, for example. So we could reduce that risk with that borrowing rate by borrowing it from another chain. And we're also planning on making the agents do it really quick. So if there's an arbitrage opportunity between different chains, because now you can literally bridge from one chain to another, and it will cost you a few cents. You wouldn't even feel it within seconds. So there could be some really good arbitrage opportunities here. We want to tap in more assets as well and accumulate a huge treasury.
Yeah, okay. Would this be across just Ethereum like ecosystem, or would this include like other L1s as well? You know what I'm hinting at.
Yeah. I think we're going to start with just at an EVM level. Anything that's EVM, anything that can be bridged to probably as well would be good. But also keep in mind the DAO needs to be working on a chain that is compatible with most others. So I think I would say EVMs to start with.
Okay, cool. What's your read on the like base DeFi ecosystem? Because this is something that I'm like completely out of my depth on when looking at DeFi on like different subsets of Ethereum, and essentially how it would contrast with other chains like Solana. I know that Solana's DeFi system isn't remotely as developed as the Ethereum eco is. What's your overall read on DeFi in general, on ETH L2s, and then like comparatively with Solana? I'm sorry if that's like a hella complicated question.
Sure. I'll start with Solana. So Solana, I don't know, but I've tried a few times to like deploy a few strategies that I wanted to work with, something unrelated to what we're working on right now, and it was pain in the ass, to be honest. Like the way you have to code it, the smart contracts, everything there just works differently. Rust is just a bit different. EVMs work a bit more smoothly with that. You can literally do whatever's in your head. You can implement that easily. And in terms of Base, so the way I see it, Base is a great place to start. Base has the basics you want. It's got a good DeFi exposure, not as good as Arbitrum, for example. Arbitrum is I would say the hub, the king of DeFi on EVMs, and Ethereum would go first as well. But Base is trying to onboard people as well, and the new users are not used to DeFi, or they don't know what DeFi is, and it could be maybe scary or a bit too complicated for them to begin with. But at the same time, I see projects and I see efforts from other projects trying to make it easier for new users to onboard and use DeFi without the complicated stuff. So I think we're still at the start of this thing, and I think going further down the line is going to take a big share of the DeFi market.
And why do you think that Base will take a big share of the DeFi market? Is it just to do with like general onboarding efforts from Coinbase, or is it just like more of a market recognition that Base has probably like quicker transactions, cheaper transactions than using like EVM EVM using like Ethereum mainnet, for example?
I think it's a mixture of both, but it's the former, like I would say I would focus on that more. So they're trying to like onboard users, and by getting more users, going to get more activity. And then other protocols would say that if we deploy on Base, then we get more exposure, we get more transactions, we generate more fees. So why not? So I think it's a mixture of both that will attract both the users and the builders. So and I'm watching this happen slowly, but it's happening. Like I've seen everybody's talking about builders and onboarding users. Base is doing some. They have great kits for like SDK kits to just build your own D app and try to onboard as much as you can. So that makes it easier for people to join and makes it easier for builders to build. So yeah.
How does AicroStrategy fit in with the Daos.world launchpad? Like I've just been lurking in the Telegram for AiSTR, and I've seen a bit of confusion from people between like, oh, is it Daos.world affiliated? And like, if you could just explain the separation or link between the two projects, that'd be cool.
Sure. So let's consider Daos.world a launchpad. Okay. So I think AicroStrategy, the idea has been with us for a very long time. I think we caught Saylor's play a few years ago, and we've been like watching it very thoroughly and been saying that we want to do this. And then Daos.world came in, and it gave us a good opportunity to do what we wanted to do in a, let's say, fair launch. Because if this was a different kind of launch, I would say it would have to be bundled. It would have to be done differently, because otherwise it wouldn't go on like seeking. This is how crypto works at the moment. And Daos.world gave us a platform. It gave us a way to build a community, and it gave us that sense of fair launch. So the community we have, a lot of them came from Daos.world because they were familiar with Daos.world. They participated in earlier launches, and they came in and they stuck, and they're still there. They're helping a lot. We did a lot of community work. The website you see, the stat page for the treasury was done by the community. A lot of things were built by the community, and that's how we wanted from the start. We didn't want to have control over everything, because at the end of the day, this is going to be a community effort. This is going to be a governance token as well, so there's going to be voting and so on. So we want everybody to be participating in it. And I think Daos.world gave us a perfect platform to be able to do this. And at the same time, they're great. They help a lot. They if anything is needed, they're there for us in terms of anything you can think of. So I think this is how we're working together, is that we're supporting each other grow. Because if we grow, they grow. They grow, we grow. It's a good exposure for both. So I think this is the synergy that works out. A
mutually beneficial relationship then.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like lead dev of AicroStrategy. What does the rest of the team look like? Or is it a pretty small, I'm guessing it's a pretty small shop.
Yeah. It's not the biggest, but I mean, this is something that we say that one person can do the work of 10 or 20% like developers if they stick their mind into it, if they actually want to make it work. So we're a small team, but we're grinding all day, and the way I mean, it's just basically it consists of developers and people from finance background. This is how the team looked like mainly. So we've got bright developers. They're amazing. They're doing a brilliant job, and at the same time, we've got people that have been into crypto for a long time. They also like are developers, but at the same time, they come from a finance background, and they know how this actually works in the finance world. So it's giving us amazing exposure for both. This is how I think it's going to work out.
What's your background as a dev in crypto? Because I've seen Asflin talking about it on the timeline before. He's done a good job in gassing you up. But yeah, I was curious. Like, well, how did you get into this space? When did you start?
actually like working as a dev in crypto, and what kind of encouraged you to like stick around?
Sure. So I started, oh man, and that was, I think, 2016.
Oh
Is
shit.
when I,
Okay. Bro,
yeah,
you've been
is
here
when I,
forever.
yeah, that's when I first bought my first Bitcoin. And I remember then I even like, I was like, I liked it very much. I was surprised like that this actually, the technology exists, and I wanted to buy more. I was very young back then. I even called my dad and I told him, "Can you give me some loan? I want to buy Bitcoin." And he was like, he hung up. He was like, "Go buy it for your own money." So that was a long time ago, and I think ever since I got, I would say, addicted to crypto. Every day I'm just like reading through, trying new platforms, new protocols, new strategies, something different. I just wanna, I don't know, I really, really like it. And I did launch a DEX and a decentralized wallet back then. I would say 5 years ago. That
Hmm.
was one of my first things that I've built. But prior to that, I was just working along like with the communities, tagging along. I've helped to like build communities back then, but then I got into the building scene, and I've dealt with a DEX, a wallet, and then I've managed slash I would say founded a few other projects to do with the DeFi meme space
Hmm.
and
Can you name drop
5%.
any of them at all, or is it kind of like
No, not yet, not yet, not yet.
okay?
Yeah, and this idea was in my mind for a long time, like a really long time. And then when Daos.world appeared, I was like, damn, this could be perfect for it, because we can raise, and we can use the raise to start looping the Bitcoin, or start using that for accumulating Bitcoins, and then we can do the bonds and all of that, and even like amplify it and do even more. So I think it just came along really well.
Okay. And how plugged into like the market side are you? Or do you mostly just do, is it mostly just like coding and dev work for you? Or do you, trade on the side as well?
I do everything, man. I trade, I DeFi. I did try NFTs for a while. It wasn't my scene. Anything really that is blockchain related, I'm trying to get exposure to and do, whether it's trading, spot futures, options, or. But I'm not saying that this is what I do like 24/7, but I do it. But
Hmm.
what my main focus would be DeFi and developing and building. I also like airdrop plays, because they give you really good exposure to protocols or chains. It's fun. It's a fun way to navigate through different projects and understand how they work. And at the end of the day, you get rewarded. I don't know. I just blockchain in general, I would say.
Crypto is the one place where you can go and literally just like play around on a chain and then potentially earn, life changing money might be pushing it a bit, but like you can earn a few $1,000s with pretty minimal effort. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's true of any other industry where it's like, hey, use this product and get free money for doing so at some point down the line. Very underrated. So, what's your read on market structure at the moment? This is me delving into some trading side questions. You
Yeah.
can dip out of this convo if you're not interested in it. But I am curious as to what you think happens with DeFi moving forward. Like, because at the moment, like so far, we've seen the huge run in essentially concentrated into memes. So far, like this quote unquote bull run, it's been
Yeah.
very meme heavy. I think there's been that financial nihilism, all that kind of bullshit around like, oh, it's all a scam. We'll just
Yeah.
buy the funny coins because they go up a lot, and they did for a bit. But now that that's come down, do you think we're going to see a reversion back to tech?
I think I'm confused a bit. Let's say that, because the way
So's
the way
everyone, man.
yeah, because the way it works is that the way I've been through it in the past, I don't know how many years, is that it's a cycle of 4 years, and it's 2 years, 2 years for 2 years for a bull run, 2 years for a bear run, and then this is how it went. Last cycle, didn't complete the full cycle because we got the things happening with Sam and FTX, and they kept the cycle short. So what I expected is that this cycle would proceed longer than the previous cycle, at least to complete the full cycle. But then again, you get external factors such as Trump in the U.S. Encouraging Bitcoin, and I'm pretty certain that this whole thing, like that you're seeing with AicroStrategy and MicroStrategy, is going to be shifted towards government, where the government itself is going to be issuing bonds backed by Bitcoin. So in that aspect, I would say memes, I think it's going to be a mix of both. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon because memes are a perfect way to onboard users. That's why it was heavily focused on, because if you want you want someone to come to crypto, get exposure, do something funny, new, and gamble their money with it at the same time, memes are perfect for that. But then you've got the actual, like, really like DeFi and the actual utilities and those things, and then those will get exposure as more people join crypto. They will start with meme coins. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine joined crypto recently. He's got no background on it whatsoever, and he joined because of the meme coins. He bought a bit of AiSTR, and he doesn't know anything else. But now he's farming, and I'm like, wow, you're farming? How did that happen? And he started by going to farms on Daos.world, and just using the simplest way of farming, which is just taking your token for another token. And then he started earning rewards. He started using those rewards to maybe sell a bit, buy something else, and do some other things. So he started building his own strategy, and he got in the DeFi scene without even realizing it. So I think the more people join, they're going to start with memes, and then they're going to transcend to DeFi.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of exactly how like it started for me as well. Like I had friends that were really, really obnoxious with like Bitcoin, ETH, that were working in traditional finance at the time. And this is while we were still studying at uni. They had internships with like essentially trading firms in Sydney. And they started just like pestering me to come to like blockchain meetups. And I was kind of like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. Like this is 2019. But I bought, like we're talking a tiny amount of Bitcoin and ETH. And then I remember buying Dogecoin literally like a few days before it like turbo pumped. And I was out in the surf and I came back in. I think I sold it for like a 5x. And if I'd held it, it would have been like not generational money, but pretty close. Yeah. But at that point in time, I realized like, there's something here. And I think like the greed kicked in enough for me to be like, I'm interested in this. But then the actual like engaging with the lunatics on CT and figuring this shit out was what made me stick. And I was like, you can actually do stuff with this. It's not just number go up bullshit. I mean, that's nice. And like, I won't lie, that's why a lot of us are still here. But yeah, there's something that underlies it that I think that memes give you that entry point into. That being said, it only works if you make money on memes. If you top blast the memes, you're unlikely to stick around.
Yeah. But actually, think of it as a casino, you know? People go to the casino all the time and they lose money all the time, but they still go there. So I think they'll stick around. The greed part is a very strong factor.
You can win next time, don't worry. Not in these conditions. Tell them to wait for a little bit. Christ. Yeah, okay. No, it is true. Like, I do think that memes can be a very like sticky onboarding point, especially if people make like a little bit quite quickly. It's like, okay. And then it just becomes like kind of that big broad funnel that filters out more and more as you go down. But yeah. So no, I mean, the token price of AiSTR is down like a fair bit from launch right now. Do you think that's just due to just kind of conditions in quote unquote the trenches more generally, or like what do you pin that back to?
I would say it's a mixture of many things. Yeah, this is one big factor that you mentioned, and rotation between users. I think we got a lot of buyers coming in from Solana, and Solana users have a attention span of 3 seconds, and that's the maximum it gets. So the
As
bad
a
the
Solana power user here, that's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they don't hold back. Like if they hold it back for more than 1 day or 2 days, that's like long process. But me myself or the people I know, we're used to holding it for years. So I think this is one aspect, and another thing is the market. A third thing is that I don't think a lot of people understood what we're trying to do, and that's okay. I think the real thing will show up when we launch and deploy the bonds, but we also don't want to do it very quickly. We've seen other projects that try to do the bond system and they didn't work out with them, and we want to do it perfectly, and that's why we're building the vault on Morpho. We're carefully working with the AI agents to fine tune everything in order to have like the perfect system, and then when the bonds go live, you've got a full ecosystem that is just working by itself. It's just self-sustained ecosystem that's gonna accumulate more and more Bitcoin.
So you're saying that other projects have launched like convertible bond systems before and cooked it. What are the risks associated with launching convertible bonds too quickly?
I think what happened was that they didn't launch the bonds itself. I think they didn't reach the raise they were trying to do, and it was because it was done so quickly. There were mistakes done in the code itself. There are things that you yourself would not think about, but there are possibilities that things could go wrong in any way that you can't think about. So you need testing. You need to test it all the time. You need to fix it. And that's why we open sourced our bonds. If you go to GitHub, you can see the latest version of it. And we encourage everyone to actually try to use it on testnet, see how it goes. And if you have any feedback, give it to us. So we want to make sure everything goes well, because this is a very important factor. We don't want anything to go wrong with this. Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you could send me that link, I'll stick it in like the show description when I put this up on YouTube as well for people to go check out. I'll include links to the project and all that stuff as well. But I think that'd be a good resource for anyone listening along to have. Have you got any future alpha concerning AicroStrategy that you can share at the current moment in time? that you're allowed to share.
I'm not allowed to share, but I can tell you that just keep an eye on our on the socials. We're gonna share some news very, very soon, and that will give you an insight for the future alpha. But other than that, I really can't say. Just watch out for the socials the next few days, 2 days maximum, and you'll see what's coming next.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to it. What's the inspiration behind Michaela Saylor? What was why the red latex? That's my that's my big question for you.
So I think it's because MicroStrategy is like red, and they've got the red logo and everything, so that just stuck into it. Why Michaela? Because I don't know. It was the hype was the big booba back then, and we wanted a version of Michael. We didn't want to get we didn't want an animal or something to be let's say the mascot or the character for the project. So it was perfect, Michaela works out, and it worked out very well.
Yeah. Well, Michaela Saylor is fantastic, man. It's a great rhyming scheme. So well done on that. But yeah, man, where can people find you, and where can people stay up to date with AicroStrategy on socials?
Sure. So you can always find me on Telegram. I'm always around. Just ping me, DM, or send a message in the chat. Either the admins or I will respond directly. And socials, we've got our X page, we've got our Telegram, and our website, where you can keep up with the stats of the treasury. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can see everything. It's transparent. All the transactions, everything that we're doing, that we're farming, is on the stat page. Otherwise, if you want to follow the news, it's X and Telegram at the moment.
And that's AicroStrategy on X and Telegram as well. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was great.